it should be.
Hello and welcome to Unmissable with me. I'm Karthikeya Sharma, and tonight on our top stories are Deep Dive, the Doctor Terror Pipeline, Pak to Bangladesh. The second deep dive, Faith versus Rights, SC reopens debate on Talaq-e-Hasan. And day to night, RCB responsible for the stampede. And that is a report of CID. But let's begin with the headlines first. Gangster Anmol Bishnoi arrested by NIA after being deported to India from US. NIA gets 11-day custody from court. Pakistan's former minister Anwarul Haq, shocking confession, admits Pakistan's role in Delhi terror attack, says, "We will hit India from Red Fort to Kashmir. We've done it." Prime Minister Modi meets Tamil Nadu leader of opposition E. Palaniswamy while in Coimbatore to meet farmers. The two discussed the Tamil Nadu 2026 polls. State set for CM Nitish Kumar 10.0 version to take oath at 11 a.m. tomorrow after NDA's landslide win, securing 202 of 243 seats. It's like putting the school-going children in gas chambers. CGI gave strong words while asking CAQM to stop supporting events of school children in Delhi's hazardous air, ordering for monthly hearing on measures to counter Delhi's air pollution. Shocking ATM cash van heist in Bangalore. 7 crore gone in 7 minutes. CM Siddaramaiah chaired high-level review meet. India decides gradual cutback in Russian crude as long-planned move to reduce over-reliance on Moscow. Not a knee-jerk reaction to Washington's tariff imposition, according to Commerce Ministry. And now let's take a look at our first story, Deep Dive 1. So tonight we start with talking about our two dangerous corridors that are converging, one across our eastern border and the other hidden in plain sight across our hospitals, clinics and professional networks. Let's start with Bangladesh. In a stunning statement, Sheikh Hasina's son, Sajib Wazed, has warned that under the new regime, Jamaat-e-Islami and Lashkar-e-Taiba operatives are now moving freely and that tens of thousands of terror convicts have been released. He says Lashkar has even taken credit for attacks linked to the Delhi blast and that Prime Minister Modi is very concerned about terrorism from Bangladesh right now.
Is Jamaat-e-Islam, which are the largest Islamic party, they have released tens of thousands of terrorists that our government had convicted and sentenced to prison. They've released them. You have Lashkar-e-Taiba operating freely now, and they've taken credit and links have been found to them, to their branch in Bangladesh for the recent terror attacks in Delhi. So I think Prime Minister Modi is probably very, very concerned about terrorism from Bangladesh right now.
And Indian agencies are now confirming these fears. Yesterday, NIA has arrested Ikhtiar, a Bangladeshi national of Ansarullah Bangla team from Murshidabad for allegedly helping operatives who slipped into India from Rajshahi just days before the Delhi Red Fort blast. And today, ATS raided a firm named Istanbul International for allegedly running a printing press producing inflammatory material. The funding trail is now being re-examined to find links to ABT, LET and the Delhi blast module. Now listen to this. Weeks before the blast, the new Bangladesh government removed mandatory security checks on Pakistani nationals and shipments. Intelligence clearance for Pakistani visitors was abolished. Pak shipments stopped being inspected. And Indian agencies believe that this policy shift may have created a free corridor for Pakistan-backed groups to operate out of Bangladesh and push material into India. But the story doesn't end here. As a Hyundai i20 rigged with ammonium blows up near Red Fort, and investigating agencies uncover how this was orchestrated by a 10-member core Jaish-e-Mohammed module, including a chilling subgroup, the so-called terror doctors. They are uncovering a second, quieter corridor, the doctor degree route, used for years without scrutiny. From 1998 onwards, hundreds of Kashmiri students went to Pakistan for MBBS degree. Rawalpindi, Abbottabad, Faisalabad, Peshawar. Many were funded through Hawala channels linked to separatist networks. When scrutiny increased, the pipeline quietly shifted to Bangladesh, Dhaka, Sylhet, Rajshahi and Chittagong, where dozens of students enroll every year, often through the same facilitators. And now, after the Red Fort blast, agencies have discovered that educated professionals, including foreign-trained MBBS doctors, were used as white-collar enablers, moving money, relaying communication, offering logistical support to handlers across the border. This is a new kind of terror recruit, not a foot soldier, but a white-collar enabler. This has triggered a nationwide audit. Hospitals have been directed to submit lists of all doctors trained in Pakistan and Bangladesh over the last 2 decades. Funding sources, admissions, foreign links, everything is being checked. Officials stress that the overwhelming majority are innocent, hardworking professionals. But the Delhi blast has shown that even a handful being compromised can create a national security threat. So tonight we look at the picture that is emerging. India is facing not one threat, but an entire South Asian terror corridor stretching from Rawalpindi to Dhaka, leaking into Bengal, UP and Delhi. Pak Minister Chaudhry Anwarul Haq has admitted to carrying out the Red Fort blast, and a Bangladeshi Lieutenant Colonel Hasinur Rahman, retired, has said they will continue giving shelter to terrorists and will not let India be at peace.
बोल के ये बात कही कि ये फितना खारिज नहीं है, फितना हिंदुस्तान है, इस खाकसार के पहले जुमले पर ये जुमले तब्दील हुए और रिकॉर्डर ने ये बात सुनी, तारीख ने, कि मैंने ये कहा कश्मीर हाउस में बैठ के कि अगर नहीं बाज आओगे बलूचिस्तान को ब्लीड करने से तो लाल किले से लेकर कश्मीर के जंगलों तक तुम्हें घुस के मारेंगे। और अल्लाह के फजलो करम से इस गुनाहगार के लफ्जों की अल्लाह पाक ने हुर्मत रखी। चंद दिनों बाद हमारी मुसल्लह फौज ने, हमारे शाहीनों ने अंदर घुस के मारा।
আমরা ভারতের সন্ত্রাসীদের মাছ করে দিব, ভারত আড়ালে থাকবে না। আমি পরিষ্কার করে বলি, সেখানে আমার জন্য ভারতীয় জনগণের সহায়তা খুব প্রয়োজন। ভারতীয় জনগণ আমাদের ইনশাআল্লাহ সহায়তা করবে, পশ্চিমবঙ্গের লোক আমাদের সহায়তা করবে, আমরা ন্যায় বিচার পাবো। যদি না করে আমরা ভারতের সন্ত্রাসীদের মাছ করে দিব, ভারত আড়ালে থাকবে না। ধন্যবাদ।
So on this conversation, I'm joined by Subir Bhaumik, author and senior journalist, and Ambassador Veena Sikri, former High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh. Thank you, both of you. Let me straight away go to Mr. Bhaumik, sir. Are we still stuck in the 1971 frame, and the society of Bangladesh has moved forward, allowing this sort of a linkage to emerge?
India's 1971 moment has arrived. You know, why did India go into Bangladesh in 1971? To secure our north, east and east. Because rebel groups from these regions were receiving training, funding, equipment in what was then East Pakistan. You know, don't you ever forget that the father of Naga rebel movement, Angami Zapu Fizo, escaped from Nagaland into East Pakistan and went over to London to internationalize the Naga issue on a passport, fake passport provided by Pakistan's ISI. Then, of course, you come to the Mizo rebellion. So, make no mistake, Mr. Yunus is bringing back India's 1971 moment. And India will now have to face two fronts of Islamist terror in South Asia. Pakistan, of course, is always there. But now Pakistan, you know, is going to get back its eastern board, to conduct all kinds of activities. And this is not something that is very unusual. Even after the independence of Bangladesh, whenever there has been an anti-Indian regime in Dhaka, and Madam Sikri will bear me out, you know, during the time of General Zia, General Ershad, subsequently Begum Zia, the government with Jamaat-e-Islami, BNP Jamaat-e-Islami. These elements have always received support. How can we forget the 10 truck loads of weapons which are meant largely for the Ulfa in Assam, which was making its way into Chittagong when the local police was not informed by Bangladesh military intelligence people. They went and seized these weapons and the whole thing fell through. But in that very case, the chief of Bangladesh Military Intelligence Agency, DGFI, Major General Rizakul Haidar Chaudhary, was booked. He was jailed during Sheikh Hasina's time. So, some people fashionably say in Delhi that, India should not put all its eggs in one basket. Dear sir, in Bangladesh, we have only one basket. If the Awami League and pro-liberation elements are not in power, the others who will come there are people like this joker Hasinur Rahman who you were showing. Who is this chap? He is part of a core group which is headed by Jamaat-e-Islami's son, Brigadier Azmi, who was sacked from service during Sheikh Hasina's time and who is now trying to raise an Islamist militia under the cover of raising a national armed reserve. So it's with Sarkari money, it's with government funds that a national armed reserve is being raised, and 8,800 boys, obviously these are Jamaat Shibir people. It's a fashion in the West to say student uprising. What student uprising? There is no autonomous student politics either in Bangladesh or in West Bengal, okay? In Bengal, Bengalis are always politically affiliated. So out there, all those people you saw on the streets were people from madrasas were basically Jamaat and Shibir. Islamic Chhatra Shibir is a Jamaat student wing. So here, let me make one thing clear.
Okay.
The exchanges, high-level military exchanges between Pakistan and Bangladesh has multiplied exponentially since Yunus came to power. Yunus, when the Joint Chief of Staff General Shamshad Mirza was visiting, he even presented a book showing Northeast, it's called the Art of Triumph. Yunus presented this book to General Shamshad Mirza of Pakistan, Joint Chief of Staff, Chairman Joint Chief of Staff, which shows Northeast, parts of Northeast in Bangladesh. Now, Yunus is not a fool, okay? He's a Nobel laureate, he's a PhD from America, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And he not only presented that book to General Mirza, he got it posted in the social media, his own social media handle.
Absolutely.
So here there are two things. A, there is a close coordination happening. I will not be surprised if in days to come and if Yunus remains in power, courtesy his American masters, because he is not interested in elections, regardless of what he says. Because if there are elections,
Subhita, you said something important. We only have one basket in Bangladesh. Ambassador Sikri, we thought that we had one basket in Afghanistan, but we ended up doing business with Taliban. And the turnaround was visible in 20 days. Now, I'm running that invite. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is going to go to Dhaka. He's going to have a meeting very soon. He has been invited. So, do we really have one basket in Awami League? One, and secondly, how serious is this issue now with the revelations that are on the plate that we are talking about Bangladeshi linkages in context of terror?
I think, thank you for inviting me, and I thank Subhi Bhawmik ji for giving all these details, which are absolutely correct. I can certainly say, as you have explained in the introduction, that the government of Bangladesh has been giving scholarships to students from Kashmir to study medicine in Bangladesh in various colleges, whether in Dhaka, Sylhet, Chittagong and other places. So this has been going on for some time. Combined with this is the activities of the Hizb ut-Tahrir, which focus only on the educated people. Hizb ut-Tahrir's specialty, and this has been a banned terror group. Even the Americans have banned it, but now, of course, it's very, very active in Bangladesh. And in fact, the person whom Dr. Mohammed Yunus introduced as the mastermind behind the events of last July is Mahfuz Alam, who is now an advisor, and he's a member of the Hizb ut-Tahrir. So we know that these terrorist organizations who work entirely through the educated groups have now been increasingly active. The main thing to understand is that the events of last July were done by those who lost the 1971 Liberation War. And they are now trying to gain back whatever was there in the pre-1971 period. So that is why it is very clear that Pakistan and Bangladesh, Pakistan is putting all kinds of pressure on Bangladesh that they come back to the line that existed pre-1971, where Pakistan has full access and Pakistan is doing whatever they like, whatever actions against India through Bangladesh. I have seen this myself during the years I was High Commissioner in Bangladesh and Begum Khalida Zia was the Prime Minister. But at that time the Pakistan government was equally active and Begum Khalida Zia was allowing all these activities. And not only was the Pakistan army even trying to control promotions in the Bangladesh army, but the Pakistan government was regularly sending people through Bangladesh into India, and every terrorist attack in India in those days had a Bangladeshi footprint. So I think that we have to be very clear, we are facing this threat. This is a very real threat and we have to tackle it immediately. As you have said, the NSA of Bangladesh, Dr. Khalilur Rahman, has been in India today, and even the Bangladesh papers have written about this, saying that while the Indian government had said that they will do business only with the elected government, but there are security issues which cannot wait. Security issues are immediate, and that is why today, the whole day today was devoted, because the meeting for which Dr. Khalilur Rahman is tomorrow, but today he was actually having talks with our NSA, Shri Ajit Dovalji, and surely covering all these security threats. What the response of the Bangladesh government is, I don't know.
Okay, the visuals which we are running are very important because, the revelations have, or I would say the details have emerged that the specific question was asked of the army chief that do they require more police in front of Sheikh Hasina's house? And army said no extra police is required. And suddenly the army disappeared and they were able to breach into the Prime Minister's residence. So my question to Subir Bhomik is, so how do you deal with this situation? What are India's options when there is an institutional support for Yunus from army and other entrenched, I would say, bureaucracies?
Make no mistake. Yunus has got his own people in the army. General Walker, the army chief, and the chief of general staff, General Mizanur Rahman Shamin, Lieutenant General Mizanur Rahman Shamin, are both very close to our families. In fact, General Walker is related to Sheikh Hasina, and Mizanur Rahman Shamin's brother was an Awami League minister. They have been sidelined. And who is Yunus pushing? Lieutenant General Kamrul Hasan. Now, Kamrul Hasan is the principal staff officer in the Armed Forces Division of PMO, Prime Minister's office, but now there is no Prime Minister, so he is sitting in the office of the Chief Advisor, that is Yunus. Yunus sent him to Pakistan in January this year, which started the process of a mutual military outrage, and this has been followed up. Just look at this, in the last 2 months, there have been 3 high-level visits. First, General... it was an important Pakistani general, followed by General Shamshad Mirza's visit, and then now the Pakistan naval chief coming to Dhaka, all within 2 months, high-level visits, and agreements have been achieved in 4 areas. Intelligence cooperation against who? Obviously India, and to the extent of not only sharing intelligence, but perhaps intelligence assets. So Lashkar-e-Taiba is an asset of the Pakistan intelligence. Maybe they will be an asset for Bangladesh and mutual.
Absolutely.
So intelligence cooperation. Secondly, training. More and more Pakistani officers will be involved in training Bangladesh military people, and more Bangladesh officers will be going to Pakistani military academies for higher level command courses, where the brainwashing will be duly done. You can understand. Number 3 is exercises, military exercises. More and more military exercises. Already the Bangladesh Navy was involved in the Aman exercises in Pakistan, in which the Chinese Navy and also the Sri Lankan Navy participated. And number 4, hardware procurement of military hardware. So Pakistan, it makes a lot of military hardware, China designed hardware. They are going to sell it, and the agreements that were signed with India will fall flat. So these are the 4 major areas. Now, let me give you a piece of information which our media has not been aware of. During the current visit, which just ended, Pakistan Naval Chief, a request has been made to Bangladesh
Pekua.
to provide berthing facilities for Pakistani submarines. You know, the Pekua base, submarine base of Bangladesh, has 8 berths. Bangladesh has only 2 submarines. The remaining 6 berths are empty. Okay, now the Pakistanis are asking for berthing facilities. This is the first time the Pakistan Navy wants to send its submarines into the Bay of Bengal. For what? To create problems in our eastern seaboard. And they want berthing facility as well as the 2R facility, which is refit and refuel. Because then they will have a longer range, longer duration time of operation. So, you know, it's not only, it's definitely in the area of formal military cooperation, but when you cooperate with Pakistan, you will automatically have, you know, the other factor, which is Pakistan believes in asymmetric warfare policy of 1,000 cuts vis-a-vis India. They will involve Bangladesh and all previous anti-Indian governments in Bangladesh. Madam Sikri was there when Begum Zia was there. You know, when all these terrorists were being provided, you know, weapons, training. Paresh Barua was there and he still has a Bangladesh passport, Kamruzaman Khan, which I have seen his passport. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to say is, don't you ever forget that those guys who hijacked our IC-814 in 1999 and 98, you know, from Nepal, they were first brought to Dhaka. In Dhaka, they were sheltered by the ISI station chief at that point of time, along with his lead agent, Mohammad Mushtaqi, who used to head who was the owner of Kebab Ghar. I have all these details, okay? Point is, Pakistan has always seen Bangladesh, post-liberation Bangladesh as well, as the second front of Islamist terror in South Asia to put India in a two-front situation. You know, militarily perhaps you cannot put India in a two-front situation because the Bangladesh military, you know, if they are not foolish, are not going to take on India in a conventional kind of a thing. But they can always do what Pakistan always does, asymmetric warfare. Huh? Pakistan even sends its regular military officers.
No, you made, sir, I'm running short of time, but you made a very strong point. But Ambassador Sikri, one, it's a question of radicalization. You know, the doctors' network that has, that has revealed. But the larger issue is, you have this government which is actively now not only training people in radical thoughts, but also will have the intent of pushing out those that have been released from the prisons in last 1 year. So, what is the Indian red line? Is the Pekua the red line? What has happened in the doctor's module is the red line?
Just a minute. They have released Ansarullah Bangla team, which you are referring to. Their chief has been released.
Yes, that is what that is the question to Ambassador Sikri. Yes, absolutely, that is the question to Ambassador Sikri.
And he was given a military helicopter to go to his mother's namaz-e-janaza in one of the districts.
Absolutely. So, Ambassador Sikri, what is the Indian red line?
These are all Indian red lines, and I think the NSA would have been pointing these out clearly. He would have been reading the Riot Act to the NSA of Bangladesh and clearly stating that India is not going to allow these red lines to be breached in this manner. And if they are breached, then Bangladesh will have to face the consequences. I think that is absolutely clear. India is not going to allow it to happen. India has exercised a lot of strategic restraint with Bangladesh. We offered them full continuation of economic cooperation. But in return for it, the Bangladesh regime led by Muhammad Yunus and infiltrated completely by Pakistan. And, you know, even Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba making statements from West Pakistan saying that, you know, we have our people now in East Pakistan and we're going to attack India from there. Asim Munir has made a statement that they're going to attack India from the east. So I think that these have to be taken into very serious cognizance and preparations. First, you have to warn them, and then, of course, we have to make the preparations to tackle the situation. There is no way out that we can allow the situation to continue. You know, they are threatening from Lal Munir Haat. They are threatening to take over. Muhammad Yunus tells the Chinese that northeast of India belongs to us, and we are the only ones who have access, and so on and so forth. So I think India has already started the process. We know that larger number of garrisons coming up in Dhubri, in Assam, in Kishanganj, and in West Bengal. There are very serious measures the government is taking. We've had a great show of strength in the Guwahati air show. All these are there. India is taking it very seriously. But what I'm trying to say is that these red lines, Bangladesh must know that if they cross them or if they continue to behave like this, there will be consequences.
There should be consequences. Thank you both of you. I've really run short of time. There should be consequences for Bangladesh. The doc terror module and the related information that has come out and the steps that the Yunus government has taken, they have breached the red line and steps should be taken. So this was our first deep dive. But stay with me because I will be back after a short break.
मुझे कॉन्स्टिपेशन की प्रॉब्लम होती है, मैं क्या करूं?
2 स्पून काफी है। ये प्रॉब्लम दूर करने के लिए लायन डेट सिरप। इसमें आयरन, फाइबर्स, विटामिन्स, बीमारी से लड़ने की ताकत बहुत ज्यादा है। फाइबर, कॉन्स्टिपेशन से रोकथाम। रोजाना 2 स्पून लायन डेट सिरप हल्के गर्म दूध में भी मिलाकर पी सकते हैं।
लायन डेट सिरप
रोजाना 2 स्पून।
आराम से हाँ। सामान देना भैया।
अब आगे क्या करना है? वो पिट्टू की पर्ची में देखो ना, कहाँ गई पर्ची?
नमस्ते
जी।
हाँ, मुझे पता है वो पर्ची में क्या लिखा होता है। आप चलिए मेरे साथ। व्हील चेयर, ये आपका और ये
हाँ।
आपका। पर्ची में शॉपिंग की बात तो जरूर लिखी होती है। थोड़ी पेट पूजा की बात कोई पर्ची में ना लिखे, ऐसा हो सकता है?
टिफिन लाया।
थैंक यू।
अरे पर्ची मिल गई।
पर्ची में तो ये सब लिखा ही नहीं था।
हम है ना आपकी पर्ची।
सिर्फ वर्ल्ड क्लास एयरपोर्ट्स नहीं चलाते हैं, आपके सफर में हम सफर बन जाते हैं। अदानी, हम करके दिखाते हैं।
Welcome back. In our second story, we are diving deep into the Talaq-e-Hasan discussion. Today, the Supreme Court of India raised tough pointed questions as it debates the issue of Talaq-e-Hasan. A 2022 public interest litigation filed by journalist Benazir Hina has once again put the spotlight on Talaq-e-Hasan, a form of Islamic divorce, and whether it violates the constitutional guarantees of equality, dignity, and religious freedom. The petitioner, Benazir Hina, says her husband divorced her through a Talaq-e-Hasan notice sent by a lawyer, not directly by him. She alleges dowry harassment, violence, and says she had approached both the Delhi Commission for Women and the police. But according to her, authorities told her the practice was permissible under Sharia law. In court today, the husband's counsel, senior advocate M.R. Shamshad, defended the method, saying it is a well-known Islamic practice to appoint someone to deliver a Talaq-e-Hasan notice, a practice by which a Muslim man to divorce his wife by saying talaq once a month over 3 months. But the 3-member bench was not convinced. Justice Suryakant questioned sharply, quote unquote, what kind of thing is this? How are you promoting this in 2025? Whatever best religious practice we follow, is this what you allow? Is this how a dignity of a woman should be upheld? Should a civilized society allow this kind of practice? And that if talaq is to take place as per religious practice, the procedure must be followed. Why couldn't the husband communicate directly? He said, Hina says that the manner of divorce has left her in limbo. Her husband has remarried, but she has no official proof of divorce, and the impact is real. Even school admissions for her child were denied because she could not produce valid papers. Hina's PIL challenges what it calls a unilateral extrajudicial talaq, arguing that it is discriminatory and gender biased. The court has now directed Hina's counsel to file a detailed application listing the direction sought. 2. Husband to be physically present at the next hearing. 3. The divorce procedure, if followed, must adhere strictly to the prescribed religious norms. And in a significant observation, Justice Khan said, society at large is involved. When a practice affects society at large, the court is obligated to step in with remedial measures. If there are gross discriminatory practices, then the court has to interfere. Today, we have a journalist before us. What about the unheard voices in remote areas? Interestingly, in August 2022, a different bench had said Talaq-e-Hasan is not prima facie improper and had cautioned against using the case to push any agenda. But today's hearing shows the court is looking closely at both the procedure and the gender implications of the practice. This case is now more than a matrimonial dispute. It has evolved into a constitutional debate on women's rights within personal laws. The matter will be heard again next Wednesday, but if triple talaq was struck down as arbitrary, is Talaq-e-Hasan any less discriminatory when misused? Is it time for a codified, gender-neutral marriage and divorce law within the Muslim community? How do we protect women who don't have the reach or privilege to approach the Supreme Court, unlike the petitioner who is a journalist? Should women continue to rely on courts to fix gaps in religious procedures? On this issue, I am joined by Zaba Khair, Advocate Supreme Court of India, and Rekha Agarwal, again Advocate Supreme Court of India. Thank you both of you for joining me. Let me take opening comments from both of you and then I'll put in my questions. Zeba, first to you, and then I'll go to Rekha. Your opening comments on this story.
I think it's a very important aspect, or rather legal issue, which is pending before the Honorable Supreme Court. I think it was time, because what has been happening that in practice, the two arbiters that are to be appointed, both one from the side of the lady and one from the side of the husband, is in practice not being done. So while the procedure laid down in the Holy Quran, rather in the Hadith, which emanates from the Holy Quran, is that at the time when notice is sent by the husband, and nowhere is it written in the Holy Quran or in the Hadith that the notice has to go via media. It can go straight from the husband to the lady, and there he has to propose that they must sit together with two arbiters, one from her side and one from his side, in order to ensure that the separation, if at all, is done in terms where it is beneficial to the lady, so that there is proper, she has to be taken care of, her future has to be secured. If she has property, or if there is any rights of property, if they have a joint property, then that has to be divided. She has to be protected. Her children have to be ensured a good, enough that they have a good future. And all of that has to take place at the time when the two arbitrators sit. And so either they stay together in a marriage, the result of this discussion between them should result in that, or if there is a separation, the terms have to be decided. And so that valid and the most important part of the procedure, as laid down also subsequently by Honorable Supreme Court in 2002 in Shamimara's case, is actually not being done in practice.
Okay.
So what happens is that we need to put that procedure in place.
Okay. Rekha, your opening comments?
I would still stay over here that it seems that what Zeba is, with utmost respect, trying to say is that this form of a talaq is not per se, unfair, but only the procedure needs to be followed. But personally, my view would be what the Honorable Supreme Court has opined, that you may look at it whichever way you would like to, but still it remains a unilateral extrajudicial form of a divorce, which is unfair to the woman. It is unfair to the woman. So supposing the procedure had been followed in the particular case which is there before the Honorable Court, and had the procedure been followed, it would still be unfair, because here the wife does not have any say at all. The husband decides to grant a divorce by pronouncing talaq at 3 times within 3 months. So isn't it the same? How different is it from the talaq-e-bidat? Over there, it was assumed that 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 form of talaq, it takes place in haste, out of a rage, without any, application of mind. Any husband just says talaq, 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 and talaq takes place. There also the Supreme Court had interfered in this matter and given its opinion, granting justice to the woman, because the Mohammedan women also in our country, per se, at the same time, they also have the protection of the Constitution. While our Constitution permits, it permits religious independence. You can follow any religion that you want. But if any religious practice, if any religious procedure, which with respect to Ziba, she's pointing out, if the procedure is followed, even then it will still be unfair. Because even if, if the complete procedure, the steps are followed, step by step it is followed, but the woman doesn't get a say. Within 3 months, instead of saying it's talaq, talaq, talaq in one breath, it takes 3 months. So it is just a prolonged agony. It is rather, the woman is waiting for the second divorce to notice to come to her, and then the third within 3 months. So how is it different? So it is as painful, as arbitrary, as unfair, as whimsical, as illegal as Talaq-e-Biddat is. And that is why the Honorable Supreme Court had even earlier struck down as it being unconstitutional. So any kind of religious practice, whether it is in the Mohammedan religion or whether it is in the Hindu religion or any religion or any custom also, besides religion, there are also very customary religions that people follow. Any kind of practice which is unfair to any particular gender, whether it is to the woman or to the man, that needs to be struck down. And I think that I'm very, very happy as a woman that, now the Supreme Court has raised very valid questions that are we in a civilized society? We are in 2025. And here any man follows the procedure and within 3 months, he gets rid of his wife. And if the other aspects are taken care of regarding maintenance and regarding, division of property, then can the divorce still be upheld? No, it cannot be.
Okay, so this brings me to another issue. Even if you look at the debates in the Constituent Assembly, before the Constitution was adopted, issues of reforms specifically related to women in religion, they acquired a larger narrative of community. So why does reforming religion from the gender perspective for women become such a tough issue? This is my question to Zeba.
See, again, I think my colleague has, of course, she said what we usually see is written all over, but what needs to be understood, that only if after 2 sessions of arbiters sitting across the table, nothing, it does not result in a reconciliation, then there is a talaq that is pronounced by the husband. But having said that, if in case these talks are prolonged, it is not necessary that it has to have just a month's time in between. If we see that there is a possibility of a consensus between the two, then you can even stretch it a little long. And if at all there are reforms to be brought in this understanding which is there.
Okay, let me ask this question to you, Zeba. I'm not an expert on Islamic law, but from the gender perspective, is it loaded against women? I want a frank answer from you. Is it loaded against women? It's like, does it give leeway to men in the process?
What I would say is that ultimately when we are in court, even otherwise in a divorce matter, we often like to refer it to mediation and here the word arbiter is used, which is in English, but actually the meaning behind that is a mediation. So when we ultimately have to go to a mediation, I would suggest that, if at all there is, when the religion already tells you to have 2 arbiters, we could maybe as a reform take this forward and continue with this mediation proceedings till there is a consensus. You see, this is what the effort is even in a mediation later. You see, if we are in court, we are fighting.
But my question is it loaded against women? Does it give extra room to men?
Well, the manner in which it is practiced, and I have a problem with that. That, of course, today, in everywhere where the proper procedure is not taken care of, and just as Justice Suryakant said, that if that proper procedure must be undertaken.
Okay, that was my question. That was my question. So that's where I differ.
Then yes, it will be unfair. But if proper procedure is undertaken, then I see no reason why this should not be adopted.
So coming to Rekha, so there are two issues. One is about the per se it is okay, but the procedure becomes the problem. But if you go by it, the agency lies on the man because he gets to pronounce it.
Yes.
He gets to say those words.
He has the last word. He's the boss. He decides to finish the relationship. And as Ziba, she's my colleague at the bar, and I respect her for that. You know that we're not in an adversarial position at all. But definitely, I appreciated what she said about mediation. But unlike mediation in other divorce cases, if there is no reconciliation, and if the parties do not agree to go if one of the parties does not agree, there's no reconciliation, and at the same time, one of the parties, supposing the wife says that I want to patch up with you, I want to reconcile. Husband says I don't want to reconcile. Husband says please agree to a divorce by mutual consent. Wife disagrees. Then the husband has to fight it out in the court. The difference in this procedure is that after this, as Ziba just pointed out, that the matter can probably be referred to the arbiters, or in another way, another word could be the mediators. If there is no reconciliation, then the husband will automatically in the third month pronounce the divorce and get away with it. So my personal take on this is that not only is it per se illegal, unconstitutional and arbitrary and unfair to the woman, even the procedure, had the procedure been followed in the PIL case of Ina, even then.
Okay, you're saying per se in the procedure. I'm really running short of time. Yes. I'm really running short of time. Zeba, 30 seconds to you. Yes, because you raised your hand.
Can I just wrap this up?
Yes.
So the answer to what my colleague has said is that in case the husband pronounces talaq even at the, considering that there has been no consensus, then today, in fact, Delhi High Court double bench has laid down a law that whether a Muslim gets a divorce either mutually, especially in a mutual consent case, they have to file a suit for declaration to declare it. I have, in fact, in a case that came to me in a similar manner, where the husband pronounced talaq despite me giving a reply to say that, look, you've not come forward at all. I have challenged this process by stating everywhere that I'm not unmarried. Today, I'm still his wife. So he has had to file a suit for declaration to declare his divorce as legal, to which I have obviously opposed to say that. So we are back in court and we have that facility. So civil courts allow us to do it. I can challenge that divorce. I can say
you can challenge that. Okay, so you're saying basically that can be challenged. Rekha, 30 seconds to you. I really need to go in for a break.
No, I would say that in case, I think the only court which has the power to kind of pronounce divorce is the Honorable Supreme Court by exercising Article 142 in cases of irretrievable breakdown of marriages. So I think that this is high time that we had a gender neutral society, we had a uniform civil court, and Supreme Court should be given the power to kind of dissolve such kind of marriages, not any religion, whether it is the Hindu religion or whether it is the Islamic religion.
Okay, thank you both of you. I think it was far more enlightening for me in context of different opinions on this issue. It's time for a short break, but don't go away because I'll be back with a set of stories in the day tonight.
खेलता है झूलता उछलता है दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
जी आपने भारत कनेक्ट का नाम सुना है?
शादी वादी कराना है क्या?
शादी नहीं, 5 लाख एजेंट्स की मदद से बिल पेमेंट्स पॉसिबल बनाते हैं।
ओ
जैसे अभी किया।
शाबाश।
आप हमें जानते नहीं पर मानते जरूर हैं, हम हैं भारत कनेक्ट।
बहुत टाइट हो गई।
Take a date, not bites. No added sugar, प्रिजर्वेटिव के बिना डेट्स, बादाम, पिस्ता, काजू और शहद से तैयार किया गया लायन डेट्स नट बाइट्स।
लायन डेट नट बाइट्स।
Welcome back. Has Rahul Gandhi overstepped constitutional boundaries with his criticism of the Election Commission? Well, it seems like the leader of opposition has shot himself in the foot. And it comes after a stinging open letter signed by 272 eminent citizens strongly condemning his remarks. The signatories include 16 judges, 123 retired bureaucrats, 14 ambassadors, and 133 retired officers of the armed forces, all accusing Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party of attempting to undermine a key constitutional institution. In the letter, they write, India's democracy is under assault, not by force, but by a rising tide of venomous rhetoric directed towards foundational institutions. The group claims Rahul Gandhi repeatedly targeted the Election Commission, even alleging that he had conclusive evidence of vote theft. He went further, using explosive language, saying that he had found an atom bomb that would leave the Election Commission with no place to hide. He also warned that officials from top to bottom would not be spared and that retired CECs and election commissioners would be hounded. Remarks, the signatories say, amount to intimidation of public servants. The letter asks why, despite such grave claims, he filed no formal complaint or affidavit, calling it impotent rage, anger from repeated electoral failures, without a plan to reconnect with people. Will Rahul Gandhi face setback for taking on the Election Commission is the question. A big breakthrough tonight in one of the India's most high-profile criminal manhunts. Gangster Anmol Bishnoi, one of the country's most wanted fugitives and younger brother of jailed gangster Lawrence Bishnoi, has been deported from the United States and brought back to Delhi. In the latest development, Delhi court has sent Anmol Bishnoi to 11 days in NIA custody. Anmol Bishnoi landed at Delhi's IGI airport just a short while ago under extremely tight security. NIA officers were positioned well in advance and he was formally arrested the moment he set his foot on Indian soil. In its remand note, the NIA said Anmol's custody is needed to gather evidence, uncover the conspiracy and trace incriminating details on the Bishnoi gang members, their roles and locations. His return is a major boost for central agencies. Anmol is wanted in several high-profile cases, including the murder of former Maharashtra Minister Baba Siddiqui, Punjabi singer Sidhu Moosewala, and the firing at Salman Khan's residence earlier this year. At least 26 members linked to the Lawrence Bishnoi gang have already been arrested in the Baba Siddiqui murder case, where police have invoked the stringent Makoka law. Anmol Bishnoi, along with Shubham Lonkar and Jishan Muhammad Akhtar, had been named as wanted accused. With his deportation and arrest, the news tightens significantly around the Bishnoi network, and multiple state police forces are now expected to seek his custody. A political firestorm has erupted in Bengal, and it began with a provocative post by TMC MP Mahua Moitra. She shared a picture of Bangladesh's election commissioner being escorted away by security personnel, captioned, "Things to come." A post widely interpreted as a warning or even a threat, hinting at a Dhaka-style arrest of India's election commissioner. Now the Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee, has levelled a new alarming allegation claiming another death linked to the ongoing special intensive revision exercise. She says booth-level officer Shanti Munni Eka, a tribal woman, an Anganwadi worker from Jalpaiguri, died by suicide due to unbearable pressure from SIR duties. According to Mamata, this is now the 28th death since the process began. She alleges BLOs are under tremendous pressure and are being crushed under fear, uncertainty and relentless workload, and that a process that normally takes 3 years to is being forced into just 2 months right before the elections. Mamata accuses the Election Commission of rushing the SIR to please political masters, claiming frontline workers are breaking under inhuman pressure. She has appealed to the Election Commission to act with conscience and immediately halt SIR drive before more lives are lost. A controversial post, a rising death toll, and explosive political charges. Bengal's political temperature is only getting hotter. A massive land scam has triggered a political storm in Maharashtra. A massive land scam which is creating a lot of news. The state government has ordered a high-level probe into a 1,800 crore land deal linked to Parth Pawar, son of Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar. The probe began after the Inspector General of Registration submitted a damning interim report on major irregularities in the sale of 43 acres of government-linked land in Pune's Mundava area. Land valued at up to 1,800 crore was sold for just 300 crore to Amedia Enterprises and co-owned by Parth Pawar and his cousin Digvijay Patil through POA holder Sheetal Tejwani, representing 272 landowners. Parth's name does not appear in the FIR. The key red flag: the land was under a ₹1 per year lease to the Indian Botanical Survey till 2038, meaning the government still had ownership interest. Ajit Pawar has defended his son, saying Parth didn't know the land was government owned and that the 300 crore deal has now been cancelled. Investigators say the sale was registered without mandatory government permission and without an NOC. And the biggest red flag: the stamp duty should have been around 21 crore. But the deed was just registered, believe it or not, for ₹500, causing a massive revenue loss. Even with data center exemptions, taxes worth nearly 6 crore had to be paid but weren't. The government has also issued a notice to recover almost 6 crore in unpaid dues. A high-level committee has now been formed to examine revenue loss and lapses in registration department. The final report is due in 8 days. A questionable land sale, huge financial loss and political heat. The truth behind the deal is still unfolding. And the Enforcement Directorate has arrested Jawad Ahmad Siddiqui. Yes, Jawad Ahmad Siddiqui, chairman of the Al Falah Group, calling him the de facto controller of a massive financial scam linked to Al Falah University and its associated institutions. He is now in Enforcement Directorate's remand under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. This arrest comes as investigators uncover serious financial irregularities across the Al Falah Charitable Trust Network. All bank accounts and ITRs of the university and its institutions were allegedly tied to one single PAN number, AAATA 0235F. A key red flag that points to total financial centralization. A decade-long financial probe shows a staggering surge in income from ₹24 crore in 2018-19 to 80 crore in 24-25. Over 7 years, the trust amassed 415 crore, largely from student fees, even though several institutions reportedly lacked proper accreditation. According to Delhi Police FIRs, Al Falah falsely claimed NAAC accreditation and misled students by presenting itself as recognized under UGC Section 12B, fraud. The UGC clarified the university never had 12B status. During searches at 19 locations across Delhi, the ED says it found shell companies, 48 lakh in cash, digital devices and documents showing funds were diverted to family-owned firms through fake contracts and circular transactions. The ED alleges multiple layers of laundering and systematic financial violations. Evidence, they say, is strong enough to justify Siddiqui's arrest. He will be produced before the special PMLA court as the investigation widens. Now, they admitted students by showing false and misleading accreditation. He earned approximately 450 crores by showing false accreditation. You know, these are the shocking details that have come out. And these are the details which we have shown you. And now moving on to another big story. RCB. In a big development in the Bengaluru RCB stampede tragedy case, the CID has completed the investigation and is now ready to file a 2,200-page charge sheet directly holding RCB responsible for the death of 11 people. The Karnataka High Court has given the green signal and the CID says the evidence is overwhelming. According to investigators, the charge sheet is built on hundreds of eyewitnesses' accounts, CCTV footage, injury reports and rescue teams at the stadium gate. But the CID's findings go further. They also hold KSCA and even manager's DNA directly accountable. The investigation reveals: 1. The event was organized without proper planning. The mandatory pre-event coordination meeting was not conducted. There was no proper communication with the police. Ticket chaos, fake tweets, online rumors triggered deadly crowd surge. Event management firm failed to implement the security plan. Private security agencies failed to control the situation. CID says all three entities, RCB, KSCA, DNA, shared direct responsibility for the tragedy. With the charge sheet now ready, the focus shifts to accountability. What legal action will follow in one of the most shocking crowd disasters that Bengaluru has seen. And in the last story, a major diplomatic movement in Washington, former US President Donald Trump has rolled out a grand red carpet welcome to Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. This is MBS's first White House visit since 2018, killing journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Trump greeted the Crown Prince with full ceremonial honors, signaling the frost caused by Khashoggi's brutal killing has thawed. He defended him. Those remarks triggered outrage in America, including from Khashoggi's wife, Hana Ilter, who told Reuters that she was deeply upset by the defense of Khashoggi by Trump. Trump absorbed Mohammed bin Salman while warmly hosting him. Inside the Oval Office, Trump praised Crown Prince for what he called incredible progress on human rights without offering specifics. The two leaders, the bottom line is, signed billions of dollars in new deals. And that's where the catch is. It is about investments to the tune of 1 trillion, up from 600 billion. And that tells us why the welcome was so lavish. With this, it is a wrap on Unmissable with me, Kartikeya Sharma. I will see you tomorrow with more news and views. Good night.
खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
25 लाख का हॉस्पिटल बिल है, इतने पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे?
पैसों की चिंता आप मत कीजिए पापा।
मैम, सर का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस क्लेम अप्रूव हो गया है।
आप
पॉलिसी बाजार
हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस क्लेम में हमेशा आपके साथ पॉलिसी बाजार। 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 550 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
कुछ भी खा नहीं पा रहा हूँ, बहुत अपसेट हूँ।
Take a date, not bites.
नो एडेड शुगर, प्रिजर्वेटिव के बिना। डेट्स, बादाम, पिस्ता, काजू और शहद से तैयार किया गया लायन डेट्स नट बाइट्स।
Lion date, not bites.
What is to the nines? In literal terms, it's perfection. But to us, it's not just a phrase, it's an attitude. One that starts at your desk and sends a statement to the world. To the Nines is about taking charge. It's a way of life where every seam, every fold, is crafted with excellence. It's timeless elegance and uncompromising quality made for the corner office. It's the ideas that inspire redefining order and elevating the tabletop. To the Nines, for the leaders of today and the visionaries of tomorrow.
Massive explosion took place.
We are outside LNJP hospital right now.
The exact reason behind this explosion.
Is there anything with regards to Faridabad?
Phone calls are getting traced as well.
The location in Faridabad.
Whether this was a blast as a result
in which the explosion has taken place.
Of a homemade bomb.
The strength of the explosion.
They in fact busted it.
Car has been registered Nadeem in Haryana.
The car still belongs to the initial owner.
There are nearly 15 people who are injured.
Damage, the severity of the explosion.
News None has accessed crucial details.
We don't know what the connection to Mohammed Umar is.
The suspect, Umar, is visible in the CCTV.
What were they planning to attack?
We continue to bring you all those details here from Red Fort.
Being a chef, it's my priority to deliver taste in a plate with good presentation, unique innovation,